How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. So in this video I'm going to be reviewing the Huion GT-220 version 2. Now I got this about a month ago or something, and unfortunately I haven't been using it too much, but that's because I don't know what to really draw. But I have been, well, you can see this picture hopefully, I have been drawing this, well, painting it. Now, so I don't really know where to kind of put this review, but what I will say is I've taken down some notes and I'll just tell you what I think about it right now. There are some other things that I want to talk about as well after these notes. So the tablet is big. Now 22 inches is not really big in my opinion, but for the kind of work that you're going to do on this, it's big enough. It actually gives you a lot of workspace to work with this 1080 resolution, and I'll also get to the resolution in a bit, because that is, in my opinion, another one of the problems. But it's nothing to do with the tablet. It's just my personal opinion and what I think that they could have done to improve it and stuff like that. Just random stuff. But anyways, the pen is very light. So the tablet is big, the pen is very light. It's actually wireless. It says about 800 hours of battery life. I took it put it on charging for about 1 hour and it was fully charged. Now there's a LED in here that lights up green or red when it's charging, and when it's turned off, that means it's charged. Now it is built really well, but it does creak about, it does creak. It also, obviously the stand isn't really wide enough to kind of support this, so it does tilt about a bit, but that's not a big deal. The cables do get in the way, but they're not a problem. I'll actually show you the back of what I've done to it and stuff like that. Just open a new painting over here or something, whatever you call it. Now I use Creator, by the way, and if you're using Photoshop you might not run into some problems that I might did with this thing. There's no big deal. I fixed everything works perfectly fine, so that's good. Now it does have this kind of screen protector thing on, and I haven't took that off because it actually kind of makes it feel more natural, and instead of a glossy or something like that, it's just more natural as opposed to a screen. It's more towards the paper, and it's actually got a bit of a texture on it. If I just go into a different pen over here, the pen does squeak, but only if you it doesn't do it anymore. I don't know what it is, but it did do it at the beginning. It's actually gone. It's not been a problem for me. I'm perfectly fine with it. The pen accuracy could use some improvement, but if you calibrate the display, you're perfectly fine with it. At the corners, I will show you this up close. It isn't really perfect, but I think it's pretty spot on. Now the display's black levels are not good. The other colors are really good. It does appear a bit warmer compared to my 32-inch display, and that's a TFT display, I think it is. But the black levels on that are amazing. It's creaking a bit for some weird reason now. It always does this. I think it's just the stand or something. But it's fine. I don't know which display is the proper colors as in real life. This one seems more like natural or something. That seems a bit more bluey. But when you kind of look at them, that one actually has better colors for some weird reason. But this is not bad. These colors on this display are actually pretty damn good, but it's just the black levels, they're not black. It looks a bit grey instead. Okay, now I had some problems with Windows scaling. The display on this laptop that I've got using over here, just at the side of the video, is a bit of a small display. It's 10 inches or something. So I've things scaled up to 175 or 150%, and when you put it onto this, even if you just use a second screen only, like, or show it only on display 2, it actually has some problems. Well, it's not a problem with this tablet, it's a problem with Creator. Now basically Creator is not friends with Windows scaling, so it just starts messing about a bit. And I've used Medibank Pro, that doesn't have any of these problems, so that's perfectly fine. Obviously again, it is just the software, so if you're using Photoshop you probably won't have this issue. I'm just saying it. Now let's talk about the display. Now it's 1080p. What I'm gonna do is just show you up close now, okay, because nobody wants to look at my face. Okay, so as you can see here, it's a 1080p display. It's obviously not coming out as it's not fitting in the video, because I've just kind of zoomed in, so these edges are more closer to the size of the video, but that's fine. This is a 1080p display. The only problem is it's actually a bit pixelated. When you're looking at this close, you're not looking at it as a monitor, and this is the same size as a 1080p monitor, which is 22 inches. But in this case, if you're drawing on it, you're looking at it really close. So it's actually a bit pixelated now. It's not that bad, honestly. I've seen some worse displays. See, works. Nothing really looks bad on it. I haven't really taken this screen protector thing off. If you do take it off, it does get a lot more sharper and a bit more pixelated. I mean, as in you can see the pixels more easily. But none of this is really a problem. It's just something to point out, because when you're drawing something, you don't want to see pixels. You know, it should be as natural as possible. And yes, I'm using that display too as a viewfinder because this thing is crap. As in, if this was a 2K resolution, it probably would have been a lot better. But I'd say about 4K would have been the G spot for this kind of thing. Obviously, if you're drawing on it, you do want the best resolution, and it's obviously going to make it look a lot more like paper. The 221, the GT-220, I think it is, the Canvas Pro. That one also has a 1080p resolution. It's a bit weird. I don't know why people don't complain about it, but I'm obviously going to complain because I can see the pixels on this thing. So again, it's not a problem. You can definitely get used to it, but I'd say it definitely could be an improvement in terms of resolution, but it's not bad. Now, display does get a bit warm when I first used it, but now it's winter and it doesn't really want to get warm again. Another warm kind of thing is actually kind of nice, because if you put your hand on it and if you have it a lot, you know, you can, I don't know, something is the hand start hurting or something because it's too cold and it's not nice. Now that's why they're given the glove, but I've not really used the glove actually, because I don't think I need it. I'm always obviously like this, and you know, drawing and stuff is really easy and nice. But the display does get warm, not too warm. I mean, it's winter, so I can't say much anymore. It did get warm at first, but now it just doesn't even get warm or something. So it's a bit annoying. Now the last thing I want to say on the notes is that the display is actually separate. So if I actually turn this off, and if I was to draw on it and it's plugged in through to the laptop, so you turn the display off and it's still plugged into the laptop, as in it's not getting power, so it's not actually displaying anything. Now if you were to hover over this and move the cursor around, and if you look at the laptop screen, it's actually going to be moving the cursor around. So the display is a separate part, and then the touch layer or the whole graphics thing is a completely separate part. It's basically somewhat joined together. Maybe they just got a 1080p monitor, took it off, splat something on it, and then just use the USB port, and I've got it actually plugged in through the USB. So what that basically means is, if you have used a graphics tablet, not a pen display tablet, the one that with no screen, so you draw on it and you see on the top whatever's going on the big screen. Now this is basically that, except it has a screen at the bottom, and I don't know what to say on it, honestly, because that's what it is. Yeah, basically. So that's why it's cheap, I guess. And that I think also has something to do with the pen accuracy, and we'll get onto that right now or something. So pen accuracy, if I can just zoom in here, I'll show you it. Now I've calibrated the display. If you can see this, the pen accuracy is pretty spot on. From the side, obviously there's, you can see that there's a gap between the pen and the thingy. But if you look at it from right behind the pen, like as in from your point of view, it's like this, or something like this, then it's basically spot on. So pen accuracy is really good in the middle, but on the sides there's just a tiny, ever so slightly, a tiny bit of it just rolls off just a little bit. So if I just, well actually that's 100%, but it just does it in one corner. So if you can see that, it does kind of start to roll away a bit, but actually it's improved a lot. This side obviously has a lot more than the rest of the side, so I'll just show you this. So I don't know if you can see that moving a bit more than the pen. The cursor is moving a bit more than the pen, but honestly cursor accuracy has not been a problem, and so hasn't been jitter. Look, this is the first display tablet I've got, so I don't know what a proper one would actually be like. Obviously closest to pen and paper would be the best, but jitter, I don't know really what to say. There is definitely jitter, but I haven't really found it as a problem or something. No, I'm not trying to do something weird now, am I? Now also I have been painting on this. Line art work is perfectly fine. I mean, you can draw somebody's face over here. Let's just do some drawings. And I'm not really good at drawing. That's the thing I want to point out. I'm good at painting, so I have done some paintings. I'll just show you them right now, and I've done all of this in Krita, by the way. So I'll just open them up. So the first one I did was this one, which isn't really all that spectacular, but I mean, I'm just getting into this hobby, so don't expect much of it. Again, the PC thing is slow, but this is basically what I drew, and I've obviously missed out something, and that's express keys. Express keys is not a problem at all. I mean, for me, I use this keyboard down here, so I've got all that assigned over there. So you know, I mean, I can zoom in, zoom out, resize the brush and whatnot. It's all perfectly fine for me, but a lot of you are gonna have problems since it doesn't have express keys. You might want to look at the 221 Pro if you want express keys. But honestly, I don't think for this kind of thing you need express keys, and you shouldn't really have them, because I mean, yes, they are useful and stuff, but it's better off using a keyboard, because this is meant to be used as on a desktop, as a desktop or something, and you can actually use this as a monitor, as a standalone monitor. So, and it's actually pretty cool with that. I've actually set this picture as my desktop because I drew it, and actually took about 3 hours or something. I just came up with it while I was drawing it, because I don't really have any ideas of what to draw a lot of the time. But I'm actually quite happy. I mean, this is one of my first paintings or something, and I'm just getting into it again. I've left drawing and stuff way back, but I'm kind of getting back into it. And the funny thing is, this looks different from what I'm seeing on that one. But that's the thing, you know, you should print them out and see what the actual colors are like. This as a painting is actually pretty nice. Obviously, it's really, really simple. There's not much to it. But I can't, well, it's the first painting I've ever done, so I'm okay with it. The next one I've done is, and the pen obviously is nice as well. And this one's even more simpler for some weird reason, I don't know why. So this is the other one that I did. It's way too simple, honestly. But my sister actually helped me with this. I just asked her what I should draw, and she told me draw this and draw that, and so I just did that. This is the only bit of the picture that I'm actually a bit more happy about than the rest of it. Because the reflection is a lot more better than what I actually expected myself to get, so that's much better. Now, I don't know what's going on over here. Oh, look. I'd say you can definitely use this tablet for professional work if you want. And then obviously the latest one is over here. I'm doing it. And obviously these are assignable as well, the pen. So I've just left them as everything as default because I want to see what it comes out like. But this is the default controls on this thing. So yeah, and that's the proper resolution as well. But the only problem is this button over here. If you do press and hold to drag it, it actually turns the eraser mode on. So that's basically got the rubber on. So if I just try to draw something, it's actually got the rubber on instead. So it's a bit annoying, but I've actually gotten used to it. As in, I don't use it anymore. I actually just use the keyboard. So let's just get out of this. We don't want to ruin it because it's precious. Line work and accuracy is pretty spot on. I'd say. Why is it on brown again? So I'd say this pen display tablet is really, really good. I mean, look at this. That's amazing, isn't it? I'm not drawing on the display while I'm drawing. See, this is the thing with separate displays. I've been drawing the clouds. I've got some footage of me drawing. Obviously, it's not the best, but I mean, it's not like I can do much. But at the end of the day, I definitely recommend this. This isn't bad. I was expecting it to be a lot worse compared, after watching all these reviews on it, but it's not as bad as you think. It's actually pretty good for the price. This is definitely easy enough for professional work as well as enthusiast or hobby stuff. So if you are get into art, this is probably the one that you should get if you want to save on some money. I'm not sure about Wacom devices though. I was actually initially hoping to get a Companion 2 or something, or maybe the Mobile Studio Pro, but they are a lot more expensive than this. And the positive side on this thing is you can upgrade the specs later on, which is with them you can't. But of course you're missing on portability, which is actually one big thing for me, because I'm a lot of the time I like portability a lot more than just a standalone thing. But that's just me. At the end of the day, I got this because it's better than the Companions because of the display size and stuff, and everything else is okay as well. I mean, it's not bad. But until I got it, I actually realized it's definitely not as bad as I actually thought it was. This is probably the best way to put this is perfect from a Chinese company. This is basically It's maybe just it's my imagination or something. I haven't really tried the best thing out there, like from Wacom or something. But this, as far as I can tell, I don't think there's much need for improvement here. The build quality is fine. Of course, there are some bad things over here, you know, like stupid cables and stuff. But at the end of the day, how often is that going to get in your way? I have it sat over here all the time. I'm never really moving it, and whenever I'm working on it, I just draw something and it just works. I mean, look at this. The pen's pressure sensitivity is fine. If you go into the drivers, you can't actually, it's actually going to ask for this, but that's fine. Now, as you can see, it's pretty simple. It's the same driver. Well, it looks pretty much exactly the same as, and the actuation is really good as well. I mean, I'm barely just touching it. This is so flipping light that you won't even be able to tell if it's touching or not. It's actually pretty good. Well, I mean, obviously it's not as good as pen and paper, but the replication of that is pretty much spot on. Let's see if you can just bump that up and then. See, this software doesn't have a lot of delay on it, boys. This is flipping. I don't know what to say. I'll just keep it on full. Let's try that again. It might just. Oh wait, it might be different here now. Yep, you have to press a lot harder for it to actually recognize it. And now it's just a lot more proper. You can probably see that drawing. But let's go ahead and show you the cables, what I've done with it, because a lot of people are actually confused and complaining about the cables getting in the way. Now there's no cables down here. Now there are no cables down here coming out over here. There's just one. This is the power cable down here. And it's just going off to the side. But what I'll do is I'll show you what I've done with it, and we'll end the video here, because to be honest with you, this is probably the G-spot. There's no need to go any further than this and stuff. If you're really complaining or deciding getting this tablet, then just go ahead and get it. As you can see, the HDMI cable and the USB cable to connect it to the USB hub, which is down here, is actually coming off to the side down here, and I've got it really squished in under here. Is the cable connected in? You can't see that because the camera's dynamic range is bad, but it's basically really curved up, and that basically normally damages the cables, but I don't really move it or anything, so it's fine with me. And it basically comes up and it just connects through here. This hole over here, and that basically keeps your base sorted out. So at the end of the day, do I recommend this tablet? I'd say definitely yes. You don't need anything more than this, to be honest with you. There are some improvements again, obviously, but they're not deal breakers. They're just little things here and there, and mainly they're just probably my opinion on top of everything else. So yeah, this is it. That's basically all I have to say right now. That's it for this video. So thank you guys for watching. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go buy one. They also come out with the 8000 levels of pressure sensitive model, and I don't really think there's a point in getting that, honestly. But obviously that's the new one, so they're only going to be selling that. They've discontinued this one. So I'll leave it here. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you again in another video.